What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 116, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. And on YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you are watching, you're already there, so please be sure to subscribe, give the videos likes and shares. I appreciate that. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter if you would like to follow me. And of course, please be sure to subscribe to whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I'll definitely be putting out an audio version of this episode, maybe tomorrow, later tonight, next couple of days for sure. That will be out soon enough, I'm sure. So subscribe as well on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or however you listen to your podcasts. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast is the domain, my newish domain for the podcast, and that forwards to my link tree, which has pretty much everything related to the show, the social media, ways to listen, ways to watch, all the links to Tedeschi Trucks Band's official website and their app and all that good stuff. AdamChoit.com for my personal stuff, other projects and things I'm working on. Let's get started. So we're going to recap Tedeschi Trucks Band's recent run. They still have one more show in Fort Worth, I know, tomorrow, which I may recap. We'll see. But I wanted to get a bunch in. And so we got Houston, Dallas, and I don't know if it doesn't look like I'm going to have anyone to talk about San Antonio, but I got the set list up for that, so we can give a broad overview, a reaction to at least that. So yeah, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. I do not have the venue names up right now, but we can give those a shout as well when we get into it. And we have a returning guest, Jeff Fink, and new guests Tyler Dill and Aubrey Dill, who were at Austin last night. So let's bring these guys in, and we'll get started. How we doing?
Good.
Hey, what's
Excited
going
to
on?
be here.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate the time and you guys joining me. We got the good sound, we got the good video, we got everything we need. How you guys holding up? First of all, where are you guys, Tyler and Aubrey, right now?
So we're in a little town outside of Fort Worth called Haslett, but we just call it Fort Worth, Texas. So Fort Worth.
Gotcha. And where are you, Jeff? You look like you're home.
I'm right now. I'm home. I'm pretty sure I'm home. Yeah, I'm in Austin.
Very, very cool. And so you guys were both at the Austin show last night, and Jeff, you were at the Houston show on May 3rd.
Well, I was at the Austin show last night, and I was
Right.
at the Houston show. Were y'all at the Austin show or?
We went to Austin and
Okay.
Dallas. We're going to Fort Worth tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, so you got three. That's right. Very cool. Yeah, Dallas, Austin. Oh man, you guys are doing it up. Very cool. Yeah, because Texas is kind of like a you'd think it'd be like a great hub for TTB, but I guess it's kind of not the best. Like obviously West Coast gets the worst and the short end of the stick, obviously touring wise, especially. But for you guys, it's not quite as like frequented a spot as like the Northeast or the Southeast, basically for TTB,
I
right?
think last time they had a show was 2018 or 2019 here in Texas. So
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Yeah, you guys were due.
Yeah.
Glad you're making the best of it. Tyler and Aubrey, how did you guys get connected to like TTB? And you can tell me a little about your musical histories if you want. I mean, looks like you guys play. We got
No, that's nothing to talk about, man. That's nothing to talk about, brother. Trust me. Yeah, I play a little bit, but I'm not very good.
He's a humble man.
We kind of were introduced to TTB on Jam on Sirius XM. That was the first time we heard the band, and it was a live performance, I think from 2017, 2018 that we heard on there, and it was Midnight in Harlem. And it caught our attention, man, and we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys. So, and then we started reading up a lot about the band and just listening to the lyrics, and that's when things changed. And and honestly, plant-based medicine helped us open this up to hearing what they're saying, listening to the talent. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome to go down this path with this band, man. It's been incredible.
Yeah, and it's so cool for me personally to like I keep saying over and over again just to connect with different people who come into this music and fandom for this band at all different times. And like and I didn't get this, I don't know, I guess I had no idea or like when, how would I know when you guys found the band, but like you guys already just talking to you for 6 minutes, like I feel like, oh, they've probably been following the band forever. And it's interesting that fans kind of put out that vibe that really love the band in the same way that like their songs are like timeless. It's like some of the people that you meet, it's like, oh, you've been a fan forever, and then they'll be like, no, I just kind of found this band, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, as opposed to everyone I assume has been, 8, 9, 10, 20 years with Derek and Susan. But like, yeah, people just keep finding this band and really being passionate about them, and that's cool to see. You got something you're gonna say, Jeff? I see the wheels spinning.
No, I agree. I agree. It feels like it feels like I've been listening to it for longer than they've been around.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm the Moon, like I guess I'm the Moon songs I've been listening to for like 5 years, right? These songs are at least 5, 6+ years old. The I Am the Moon songs.
Mhm. There's
Crazy.
something like familiar about how they sound. Like I don't really know how to put it into words, but it's like, at least I know I can speak for me and probably Tyler too. When you listen to that music, it just feels like you're home. Like it's very comforting home music. I don't know.
I think we all probably play it so much so it becomes our home base, our familiar music, but also it has those, like I don't know how to articulate what you're saying either, like to describe that feeling musically, like how to articulate that. But like, yeah, it's like one thing kind of feeds the other. The music has the sound of home, but we kind of are also choosing it to be our our home as well. I feel like at the same time. Yeah, why don't we can try to go semi chronologically through some of the music. I guess I don't want to waste people's time too much. I definitely appreciate it. I guess I'll share the set list and maybe we can pull up. How about that? We got the Houston poster here.
Yeah, I wish I would have grabbed that one.
Badass poster.
Did they sell that one in the foil edition too?
They did. So they did. I thought this looked better than the foil though.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure what the foil looked like, but cool. That's a awesome poster.
And actually, a fun story. I went to go get the poster. I'm looking at it, and I like that one better than the foil. And then I noticed there was a sign. They had signed copies, and I guess there was only like a dozen, maybe. And I got the last one, which is pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
It pops. Maybe that's not always the best standard to judge all posters by, but I always think like, does that one really pops? It pops. Does it pop? But also, I really like some of the Jeff Wood ones, like the ones that like the more of the hippie Native American vibe. That's kind of very traditional to some of the Tedeschi Trucks, like styles over the years and Derek Trucks Band styles. But this is awesome, obviously with the rocket and the space themes fits Houston, and TTB has a lot of space themes. Is that the moon or is that Earth that we're going towards, or am I already overthinking it?
I don't know. I think it's supposed to be the moon, but it's hard to tell because of the size versus the other ones that might be planets.
It looks like
it looks awesome though, and like the reflection of whatever's coming out of the.
Yeah.
I love how they took Space City and then they got the moon. I think they've got, because those are craters. So I think they've captured the moon, the whole space theme, moon theme, and then they pulled in Houston Space City. I think it's awesome. And
yeah, depth. It has a lot of depth and it pops and dimension. This is what I judge the posters by, but yeah, and I mean color. Color is part of the pops, but yeah, super super cool. At Bourbon Sunday, I think, is the creator of this. So if you want to check out them, good stuff. How was the venue?
The venue. So was this? So this is the
Houston.
first. Yeah. So venue is good. It was at the Smart Financial Center, which is in Sugarland. So it's kind of like a south suburb of Houston.
I looked it up on a map.
Yeah, it's not central to the city, but Jones Hall, which is where like the symphony plays, which is downtown, apparently it had some flooding during one of the hurricanes, and I think they built Smart Financial Center, and then a lot of the shows from Jones Center started to go over there. So it's definitely it's new, doesn't have like the history like a Warner or like a Beacon or theater, but it's designed to be like a new modern version of like a new theater, like attract shows like that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Cool. We can get into the music.
Jeff, where did you end up sitting in Sugarland?
Sugarland had a sweet seat. I ran into one friend I wasn't expecting, which was awesome. And then I had another friend that was like, they have a middle suite section, but you asked me where I was. So I was just thinking about all the seats. So I was right in the middle. I was third row, center, smack dab in the middle.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. It was
How cool was it for the stage setup in Sugarland? Did you how far apart were you from the band, do you think, being third row? Was it kind of like how it was in Austin last night, about the same distance?
Similar distance, but I was closer to the actual stage, but then they were set back on the stage.
Yeah, okay, I see.
A little bit further. It was a huge stage because I'm sure that they probably have big performances on there.
Yeah.
But similar like distance overall. It was great. I had an awesome view. It was darker. I noticed it was darker in there, and I think it's because of just the type of shows they probably have there. But there was definitely like just the audience was like darker. There weren't as bright of lights in the audience.
Do you like that more?
I don't know. I wondered if they could see. I always wonder what it's like on stage to see like how well they can see, and like if lights are in their eyes. I don't know if y'all know.
Right.
But I thought it was hard to take pictures, which was it was good and bad. It led me to not use my camera as much and be a little bit more present. But that was probably the only thing I really noticed with the darkness. Like it couldn't focus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd imagine the band wants to be able to see at least some faces in the crowd. Like, you don't want to be like completely blinded by lights and whatever and not be able to see any faces. I imagine they'd want to see some faces. And I think about like how the Lakers and some of the basketball teams, they have like the court spotlighted, and the crowd is kind of like in dark and more in darkness, and that really highlights what you're there to see. So I kind of think there is some advantage to having it darker on the audience. It's better for the audience. It might be tougher on the band though, I guess, to just in terms of performance and whatnot.
Yeah, and it probably made like the Passaquan, like I love what they're doing with the lights on Passaquan.
Yeah,
like with the reds and blues.
We missed it last night because it was still kind of daylight for Austin. But yeah, I could imagine that this stage kind of went pretty dark during Passaquan in Austin. So I bet for the Sugarland, it made it pretty interesting.
I wonder how much of that does the lights and that stuff evolve like over the course of a tour? Like, do they fiddle with like the timing and all that stuff? Because I don't really think about it that much. Like but I'm sure there is some. Oh, let's do this here. Let's do that here. Keep this on for that amount of time. Like, I know they do repeat some of the same, like obviously some of the Kofi imagery and whatnot is like, for Soul Sweet Song and some of these and other moments. But yeah, I wonder how much of that is evolves as does the music with the band.
I think it does a lot. They've definitely got a bigger budget, the lighting team, because they've added the lights. I don't remember when it changed, but I know within the last year, I want to say, they didn't have the lights and all the video imagery a little over a year ago, where like the lights that are over the horns and then over the singers, they didn't have that same system that has to be like new within the last year.
Yeah, and they rearranged the stage setup. That's at least probably a year and a half, 2 years ago or something like that. How the configuration, but I guess that's still fairly new. But yeah, everything has seemed so seamless with even like that aspect of the band. How they incorporate more lights and graphics, and none of it takes away from the music and the experience. It only enhances it, and it's just all done so like tastefully, but also like in a fun, psychedelic kind of way that you get at a rock
Yeah.
blues
Yeah.
show.
Right on time too, like with the lighting. Even the horn section and for the singers too, they have the individual lights that can light up each artist individually, which is really cool. But when the band starts hitting a note, when they hit a note at the same time, they're starting to incorporate these bright lights at the back of the stage for when those rhythms hit. And that's pretty cool too, man. I don't know how long they've been doing that for, but that's right on time every time. Every time the sound guy or the light guy, he's nailing it when they get to that point in the song. So
You can tell it's all very intentional. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
It makes me think about, because I've spoke to several photographers on the podcast, and they kind of like have the same approach to what they're doing. Is like trying to like knowing ahead of time when some of those accents and moments happen with each band member at which particular parts of the song, so they can capture those sort of accented actions, I guess, that the band does when Susan picks up her leg or Elizabeth is really dancing and really getting into it hardcore, or Ephraim's cheeks are puffed out, whatever, all these moments, like the photographers and the light people have to kind of like be on top of those things.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just in my own head listening to the music and just like probably thinking about something in my life from 10 years ago, and then hearing Derek or Susan being like, and being taken to another universe, sonically, spiritually, soulfully. Like, it's just so much fun. Like this band.
Awesome.
What about the set list? We don't have to go song by song for everything, and I don't have a San Antonio representative either, but
shout out to the Greyhounds. They opened all everything but Austin, because Austin had the 2 sets. So they were the opener. They're an Austin band. If you're listening to this and you're going tomorrow night, definitely recommend getting there early enough to see them. So I want to give them a shout out. They got a fun guy that sings about, they kind of do some fun songs too, and their blues soul music. Talk about a mule. It's a cross between a horse and a donkey. You heard that?
so expected.
Oh, my mom was like, "What is going on, dude?" It was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. That kind of lightens the mood. So that was the opener. Anyhow came out. I love the Anyhow start to the set. I think so. I told you about this. So I noticed. I think it was right after Fallen. I was like 3rd row center, and I decided to stand up. And I was standing for probably all of Fallen, and some guy in between Fallen and I'm the Moon, when they were the band was talking to each other, waiting to switch songs. Somebody like maybe 10 or 15 rows behind me yelled like, sit down. And Susan must have heard. So she said, she got on the mic and said, "You better not be talking to me," which I thought was hilarious. And it was really sweet because I felt supported in standing up, whether she meant that towards me or not. But it was kind of funny because when I went to the bathroom and then on the encore and then after, I got probably a dozen people that were like, "Way to go, stand up." So that was an interesting situation. I feel like I'm constantly trying to figure that out and be a good citizen of the rest of the fans that are also wanting to have an experience if they're sitting down, and also move my body because that's what feels right to me. let's see. I'm looking at the set list too. So that was a fun story I wanted to share.
Yeah, Fall In, you have to stand. That's definitely a song where a moving your body song, if there is one, there is, a song like that in the TTB, like that's, fits that bill. And that is not only sweet and supportive and funny, but really quick-witted of Susan to like be that like just on her feet, just making it, it's funny, charming, all that, like, and that makes it's all part of the whole experience. Like, and I have mentioned this a lot, like how humor, like you get the whole range of emotions at a Tedeschi Trucks Band show, I think, and humor is one of them also. And I think people maybe even forget that, like that's part of the experience at various points in a show too. It's like from intense dramatic moments where I'm not crying, you're crying, to then you're laughing at, some funny fan drama that Susan jumps into, so to
Yeah.
speak. But yeah, you're gonna say something about the songs.
No. You're good. I love it. I'm with you, and you reminded me too. Like I think it's sometimes when I think they like miss a lyric or maybe miss a note or something, and they just all smile and like laugh about it. Like I think it's kind of like funny and lighthearted. I don't know if that I get a sense of humor from that, or at least they're finding humor in it. So I'm sensing that, and it's probably so you're reminding me of that when talking about the humor.
Yeah, and at the very least, like it's not saving face, but it's like it's like a level of professionalism, like that the show just like the show kind of goes on. Maybe they're feeling internally one way or another about what happened musically on stage, but to us, the audience, they're just continuing on with grace and humor, and I think that's part of it, and those tie into each other.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So I was gonna say I was excited about Smoke Ring Halo. They don't play it as often, and I saw the Wood Brothers like 2 weeks before, and they didn't play Smoke Ring Halo, which is what that's a Wood Brothers cover. So I was super pumped to hear that song. I like it. I'm not a big, but a Wood Brothers fan. Then let's see, the Little by Little, they ended up playing it again in Austin, which we can talk about in a little bit with Jimmy Vaughn. But at that time in Houston, I was pretty excited too. One of the older Susan songs that she doesn't play as frequently. And then Angel there's two things on here that I'm noticing. The Angel had Sugary at the end of it. And then the encore, I wrote it down, but the encore was not, they switched it. It was Let's Go Get Stoned.
Oh, not yeah, Playing with My Emotions and Ain't That Something. I haven't seen that or heard that for an encore.
Yeah, I think they had it written down for the Austin one too. You can see it's like bolded and changed. I saw someone with a printed one.
Yeah.
That had it too. So maybe they're thinking about doing that. And they're going, no, let's go. I don't know what's going on there. But let's see. On that, also the other thing that stands out to me is I'm just loving the part of me, what they're doing with it now, with Alicia being the big highlight, in my opinion, the big highlight of it.
I stop whatever I'm doing whenever I hear that part, like on some fan recording or Mixler or whenever I can catch that. Like it's just like excuse me, what's going on right now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Yeah, I think it was like at the Warner they started doing it in this last year, and it's like every time we're getting it now. I love it. I love her getting showcased there too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a stellar set list, even with the the correct or the changes or whatever. Yeah, I mean, we could jump around. We could obviously. I don't have anyone to talk about the San Antonio show, but you were not at the Dallas show, Jeff. But Tyler and Aubrey were at the Dallas show.
What do y'all think of the San Antonio? The San Antonio set list looks awesome though. These one sets, I think these one sets are wild too. Like they're usually, I wrote it down. Like this was almost 2 hours. It was over 2 hours if you include the encore. But I mean, it's just straight music for over 2 hours.
Yeah, something. Yeah, they pack a. You don't get cheated in the one set. In the one set. at all in the duration or the song choices or the just the orders. Yeah, it's something about it just really. It's almost like they can't even fit all the songs on the page. And just like you think about some of the length of some of these songs, it's like it makes it feel like it really fills the page when you see Passaquan on a long set list. It's like just that alone is going to be a big chunk of your evening, or a decent chunk. Hard Case, have we had that in this year at all? I feel like I could have missed something, but definitely not very much.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's been rare. Yeah, the San Antonio set, like just on paper, that I don't know about y'all, but that if I like had to just look on paper, that aside from maybe the second set of Austin, but that set just looks wild. Like go ahead.
Yeah, Take Me As I Am, Circles, and then Passaquan is, I mean, that's beautifully written out right there. And then you at the top, like Playing with My Emotions, Ain't That Something. Those are very poppy. We're going, we're dancing, we're grooving, we're starting it off really strong. And then Hear My Dear and Fall In. It's like, that's an awesome set list, man. It really is.
It's like they finished it in like a very psychedelic, almost like a rootsy kind of a way. I just like looking at it, just the psychedelic and the spiritual and the rootsiness of Passaquan into the traditional blues, into another kind of traditional blues style song with So Long Savior, into Made Up Mind, which is like rock and roll, which is which is like the culmination in some ways of like those songs in the evening. And like I don't know, that's how I think of like the song Made Up Mind. Like I don't know, not that I try to put every song into a genre, but I guess it for the purposes of conversation, our nerdy conversations. Yeah, no, it's funny how we're able to just talk about the set list and we have we didn't hear any of this, but we know these songs, and like we were saying, we feel like we've known these songs for longer than the band has played them or conceived of them.
Yeah, and I apologize. I was looking at the wrong thing. I thought San Antonio. I just messed it all up. I thought San Antonio was
the bottom left.
Was the Friday one on the left? That's the set I'm looking at.
No, but we got 1, 2, we got and we have
that's
four of the same ones, because we talked about 4 of the similar songs.
Yeah, no, I want to hear about y'all's, because y'all were at the Friday show.
Yeah, Dallas.
That's the second one. That's the one I'm looking at where I'm seeing like Midnight into Gravity, and like it looks mind blowing.
Yeah, so
they started off so strong. Like we saw them, our first time seeing them was at the Ryman in Nashville.
Yeah,
and so we were obviously very excited to see them again, but the way they started, like I can't even, it blew my mind. They like, you go to some shows and they kind of like ease in to going like all out, but they started going all out. Like they played their hearts out from the very start.
Susan did. I mean, immediately.
She had so many solos.
First 3 songs, she was just going off. I mean, she all out. And so even looking back at our moms that were sitting 2 seats over, this is we just got our parents into this band probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so we're really proud of this this moment here. And then Susan's just going off on the first 3 songs and just singing her heart out and playing her heart out, and our parents are just amazed at it, and it was incredible, man. Yeah, the set list was perfect too. I felt like, compared to like they killed it in the Ryman too. We're only there for the first night in the Ryman. And they did incredible, but I feel like you can definitely feel the energy, and the arena that the venue has a lot to do with it too. I mean, the venue in Dallas was set up really well to where you can see the entire stage, and we're at the top. We're in the balcony, and it was perfect. And the people around us weren't standing up, but we had some people a couple rows back at the very top that are dancing, their butts off, and the energy was awesome, man. It was a beautiful, beautiful concert for sure.
And the sound there was incredible. It, like you literally felt like you were encased in the music.
Yeah, it wasn't, every seat in that venue had perfect sound. It was incredible.
I can't even explain it. Like it was just
very, very happy to
you were surrounded by the sound.
This was your second TB show, and your parents first.
Parents first, yeah. Or my mother-in-law, her mom, my mom. That's who we took. So yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, and this is accurate. They started with Soul Sweet Song and then Playing with My Emotions, and then Ain't That Something? Because like when I don't recall them starting a show with Soul Sweet Song, and in some regards, I feel like that's when like me and Jeff have had conversations about. So I think that once or twice they opened with Midnight in Harlem, or maybe once, but they've been moving it around the set list and putting in different versions and stuff. But when you start a show with Soul Sweet Song, that's like. This is a serious show, and serious in a sense, like like buckle up, like in a sense. I feel like this is gonna. I don't know. It's because that's just how much that song means to the band, just how it's related to Kofi. Like, it's just I don't know. It sets the tone for the evening, and just Susan centric songs like the first three, like her coming out, especially vocally on fire with passion. I'm sure. At this one, like you guys have been describing. I'm gonna give you guys the floor. You just tell me whatever you want to share about about Dallas and the evening and the set list. And
well, the venue, there's no line. When the doors opened, we went straight in, and there was no line. They didn't open the actual, so you can walk inside and start buying your snacks and stuff. But they keep the doors actually shut to the actual venue inside. But yeah, there's no line. There's a ton of people. Everybody's really, really nice at the venue, so that made it even more comfortable. All the workers were smiling and welcoming and walk you straight to your seat. It just felt like an upscale experience. It really did. A very intimate upscale experience just from the get-go as soon as we got in the venue.
Yeah.
And and then Greyhounds, I mean, they killed it. They were a lot of fun. Their guitarist, I don't know that guy's name, but he has some swag. Even the other guy, the pianist too, they have some swagger to them. That's just, there's something about that band.
Very eclectic.
Yeah, man, and they're unique. They're very, very unique, and they have a very unique sound, and the way they play, you don't want to stop watching them. You like their movements, the way they're moving when they're playing, man. It's really cool. So it was cool to see them open up.
And I have to point out, because I've never seen this before, the lead guitarist of the Greyhounds played the guitar. His hand was over instead of under, and I just thought that was really interesting. Like, I guess that's something that can happen, but it was just so cool. He was going, and I was like, that's so weird. I've never seen that before. Like, he was really good. To play it that way versus underhand. I don't know.
Yeah, it was they opened up. They brought that guy out from 6th Street, Austin. They played that Mule song. They had a couple songs with that guy. So that livened it up. Our moms were laughing, and everybody was kind of hopping around dancing. It was pretty fun. So, but yeah, and then they came out and they just, they got straight to it, man. Straight to it. There was no hesitation. They didn't miss a beat. They came out just on fire, dude. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good one. Get ready. And it was, man. It was. And then Playing with My Emotion. So Ephraim, he's born in Dallas, and I didn't know this until after the show, because I saw him out in the hallway after the show, and he was meeting, I guess, his friends or family. Somebody was out in the hallway with him. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, man, he was talking to his friends, so I didn't want to confront him or get a picture or anything. I just, let him do his things. He's with family or friends. And I remember going outside. I looked it up. I was like, man, what? There has to be some connection here. And sure enough, he's born in Dallas. He actually went to Weatherford College, and that's, I grew up in the west side of Fort Worth. Now that college is only 15, 20 minutes from my house. And I was like, wow, that was it's a more intimate show for him.
And they kind of like wanted to represent him a little bit. So when they came out, they had his face.
Oh, I think that was Kofi. They had him the backdrop. Yeah. Yeah.
My bad. No, never mind. But he was from Texas too. I thought that's why he was on the background.
No, I think it just Ephraim. But yeah, it was hard to. So like we were at the balcony. So when we first saw it, I couldn't point out like who that was. But yeah, and then Ephraim, he went off. Like the first two songs, they let him get in it pretty good, and it made more sense now. The entire show, it wasn't circled around him, but he definitely got a piece of the pie, man. He was going off. They let him, work his magic because he had friends and family there that was watching him, and it was a special moment for him for sure.
Looks like a really powerful Susan set list. But like I
Yeah.
was saying with the first 3 songs, and then La Di Da, Yes We Will, Midnight. Those are all very powerful Susan moments, and Just Won't Burn, and Bound for Glory. But then I'm skipping all over the other things that get you Gabe and Mark. It's just always such a great balance. Like you could look at this and you could name a band member, and you could find at least several moments somewhere in this set list where they get considerable like how is it that 12 people could be memorable? Like you wouldn't even think that's like possible. Like obviously Derek and Susan, it's their they're the band leaders, but and the front people of the band, but like everyone really does get their shine from Mike and to Mark and Alicia, and I'm just looking at the set list thinking about who's associated with what song. Just a really well balanced set list. But I'll let you guys tell me about your experience more.
First time hearing Midnight in Harlem live, and I've always seen. Yeah, it was awesome. So I've always seen, especially at this venue, but I've always seen the build up to it, and kind of had you kind of get an ear for it when they're building that up. And so we knew, when it started building up, we knew what was going to happen. And we were waking out, man, we were so excited. We grabbed hands and we were like,
We cried.
Oh yeah, we were bawling.
No shame.
Yeah.
We cried.
Good.
They went all out for it, man. And the intro to it, I mean, it was probably a 4 or 5 minute intro before they actually went into Midnight. It was awesome. But even leading up to Midnight, Done Somebody Wrong, La Di Da, Yes We Will, and then going into Midnight, it's like, all right, now we're settling down. And right after Midnight, Gravity. And then we're back at it again. So it was beautiful, man.
And
it was beautiful.
I really, really enjoyed Shame. I had never even heard that song yet. And it just blew my mind. So I was like, well, that's added to my favorite after hearing that, because
They kill it on
Susan's
Shame,
vocals
man.
on Shame were amazing.
Yeah, you're gonna have a new song. As somewhat newer fan, you're gonna have a new song every other. Oh, this is my new favorite song, and then it's gonna be when you dive into the live stuff that the fans record and the live stuff on YouTube. Oh no, this is my favorite version of this song this week, and then you'll hear a new version, and Derek will do some weird stuff, and you'll be like, oh, that doesn't sound like he heard the version that's my favorite version, but that sounded interesting. And then you'll listen to it a second time and you'll be like, oh, that's the correct version now, that's the best version now, that's the right version of this song. Like, it's just such an endless reservoir of music, if that's the right term. Yeah, this is just a fun show you got.
Yeah, Shame was just incredible, man. They again, it really felt like it was one of those shows where every single song, it was just pure raw creativity and emotion. They went out there on a mission and they made it happen, dude. And Shame, Midnight and Shame definitely were the highlights that I noticed. That was the two that were just, the crowd went wild for it. We're in tears. It was awesome. Yeah. Let's see what else is here.
Gilded Splinters, the roof usually starts to fly off the buildings during that too.
I love the haunting, I call it haunting sound of Gilded Splinters.
Tribal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. Tribal haunting it's unique for sure.
Chant. It sounds like a chant, like a tribal chant almost in the drum beat. It kind of has.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Bound for Glory, right before the encore, I think it got everybody up and going, just like, all right, this is the great way to end the show. And then they came back, so everybody was already standing because they were up for Bound for Glory.
Mm-hmm.
That's walking around, and then
so being in the balcony, we can see everybody down below, and I always watch the rest of the crowd to see who's standing up, because we like to dance. We can't stop moving. But like you, Jeff, man, we have to be mindful of people around us.
And you're tall, so
yeah, I'm 6'4", dude. I'm a monster. So people, dude, and I'm not standing still. I'm going left and right, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm up here and I'm screaming. So I got to be mindful of that. But I was noticing down at the bottom, from the balcony, I could see the crowd. And of course, when we went to the Ryman, everybody's standing in the Ryman. There's not one person sitting in the Ryman, right? So we kind of anticipated the same thing for Dallas, but we understood it's a different state, it's a different venue. We're not going to have the same kind of following that Nashville has. But for the first, 3/4 of the show, most everybody was sitting down. And like Aubrey said, Bound for Glory came on. They started pumping up, and people's minds were blown throughout this entire set. So Bound for Glory came on, and then everybody's up. Everybody's on their feet dancing because they're going out, and you could feel it. So the people that have never seen this band before are like, oh my gosh, these people are just killing it right now. I got to stand up for this because everybody else is standing up. We got to get into this. And then that was the last song, and then they did encore after that. So it was just beautiful, man. They went all out. It was awesome, man.
I love it.
Definitely got everybody on their feet and kept them on their feet for the encore. It was really cool.
I love that. And you can feel that energy. Like the whole energy shifts when the whole crowd gets up like that.
And I love it.
It's the part, but that's
seriously,
when it feels like community. It's like,
that's what
we're all here for the same reason. You know?
That's what I love about it, man. Is if like the Ryman was just such a cool experience. It's very intimate, and the entire venue is standing up dancing with you, and everybody. And I wish it could be like that at every single venue. It's not, that's not realistic, but I like to at least surround myself with people that are up and moving around, man. It makes it fun for the show.
What year did you say you went to the Ryman?
That was this year. That's when Billy Street.
I don't know if you maybe didn't hear my Ryman recap episode, but that's basically how David Flam and others were describing like the Ryman was exactly that experience, like almost. And he's been to a million shows, as is Jeff. Like something about the people at the Ryman. It's almost like which jumped out at me, how the people who work at the Ryman and who kind of the whole area surrounding it and the city, and the TTB fans who travel in and love music on top of it. It's just like everyone has this love for the music, and so that manifests itself in just like a great experience. What's that?
Nashville is just, everybody goes there for music. So
dude, David Flam. I saw him at the Ryman. I didn't know anything. I didn't see him on the podcast before that, but he was wearing this. I went up to him and said, "Hey, nice shirt." Because he had this like blue long sleeve, blue and white kind of tie dye thing. I can't really recall, but the lyrics is deep down in your soul. And I saw that, and I was like, "Buddy, that's an awesome shirt, man. I got to get that." Like, but it's just some long sleeve shirt. It said "Deep Down in Your Soul," and I never forget that. And then I saw your podcast, and I saw him on there. I think he was wearing the same shirt. I was like, "That's the guy I saw with the shirt, the Deep Down in Your Soul shirt, man." I was like, "I don't know where he got that. It's an awesome shirt, though."
Have you found, like, just speaking of fans, and we'll get back into the music and the Austin show and all that, but have you had overall not every fan is a perfect angel, as we've talked about some even off before the show, but have you had a generally good experience, you two guys, Tyler and Aubrey, like as far as interacting with fans? Because that's been cool for me to obviously connect with other nutcases who love this band.
Ryman is awesome. I think as far as the community, Ryman's going to be hard to top.
That's one of the reasons why we get so excited to go to the show, because a lot of we've tried to introduce TTB to a lot of our friends, and they just they like it, but they just aren't on the same level of appreciation as we are. And so when we'll send them songs and be like, "You gotta listen to this, it's so awesome," and like, they don't get as excited as we do. So when we go to a show and we're around like-minded people and see other people get so excited about it, and you can have these kinds of conversations with them, it kind of fills that little hole that we don't get in our local community.
Yeah, that's how I ended up here, basically, in a nutshell. Yep.
I was at the Ryman shows too.
Oh, awesome.
This year's, everything you're saying resonates. I agree, and I want to hit y'all up next time I'm buying tickets to see. We got to stand together.
Yeah, that's on our list. We haven't bought tickets yet, but that's on our list for sure. But yeah, next time next year for Ryman, dude, let's definitely let's buy them together. We're going for sure. Yeah, we can't miss that. That's incredible energy. You can't top that.
Yeah.
It sounds like it has the highest overall marks in all of the boxes that you would want to check off for like a music experience, like from the guest services to the sound to the history of it to the quality of the fan that it draws to the amount that the band loves like whatever, like it feels like it checks all the boxes 10 of 10. Whereas even if you like to think about the Beacon, there's some things like, oh, like, you know, New York City can be tough to get to. It's super expensive. Like there's like, you know, there's more cons or more, you know, I guess to some other things. Like whereas Ryman, it just sounds like it's like the quintessential ideal TTB experience. Red Rocks is special, but I hear the weather's not always so great out there. And again, kind of tough to get to for a lot of people, you know, on the Eastern Seaboard who you know love TTB or whatever. But yeah, no, it's put the Ryman on my bucket list too. What's that?
I said, let's make it happen, man, for sure.
Yeah. Should we get into what's the next one? The Austin show.
Well, I have the flyer. I got the foil flyer for Dallas. I'm going to show you. It's in my hallway. Let me grab that real quick. I want to show you guys what that looks like.
Yeah, I got the San Antonio poster.
I like
that's
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember. Yeah, I like this one. It's captured the old Wild West of Texas.
I think I'm just starting to become more obsessed with the posters. Like, just in terms, I don't know. I'm just like get more and more excited about what's going to come because they are all so different. Yeah. And I shouldn't compare and contrast and choose my favorites, but they are all interesting. Like, and range from like more minimalist to not minimalist, at all.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. I'm going to share.
The lighting's gonna be tough, but
the foil.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
Whoa! Oh, you've got the ring light.
Yeah.
It's ready.
I get that on my glasses, but
it's awesome. It was well worth it. The foil is good on that one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We're starting a wall in our hallway. We're gonna do all foils.
Yeah. We'll do the Ryman one back there somewhere, but we'll keep the Ryman, the non-foil ones. We'll keep in the office. We'll do the foil ones in the hallway. So we'll see how
everyone's place that I have on this podcast is turning into like a TTB museum. That's cool for me to get to see. Also, you know, on the YouTube, it's visual. You get to see everybody's Hall of Fame. There needs to be like eventually. Like, because I was at the Big House Museum for the Allman Brothers. Like, there needs to be like a TTB thing. I want to see like a room with like a gymnasium size thing with every single poster on the wall would be like so cool. I've never been to this. I don't know if it even exists, but someone said that there's like a bar in England that just plays Rolling Stones music like all the time. I think like 24/7, like Rolling Stones. And I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah, somewhere. That's cool.
Their catalog is getting big enough where you could be like sustained from like doing all that stuff, and some people are definitely into archiving the music for sure. Should we get into let's here's the
well, I was gonna say on that vein, the pictures from the Beacon last year with the 50th show, it looked like they had set lists from every single 50 Beacon shows.
Oh yeah, that was a cool picture.
Cool. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
This is last night.
Yeah, I got that foil one too. I haven't put it in a frame yet, but it's pretty dope too. Same thing, just foil around where the white is. They put foil, put the shiny foil stuff. So
I like how the stars sparkle on it. I almost got the foil. I ended up getting the regular one, but I like how the like stars were sparkling like through the foil.
Yeah. So there's just like little specks inside of it too. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just
that's it.
Foil, man. I gotta snag one every time. Yeah.
What is this? Is this a bridge in Austin? A significant? Yeah.
Yeah. There's I think it's the pedestrian bridge. I think it's supposed to be the pedestrian bridge or I don't think it's the Congress Street Bridge, but maybe it is. It looks like the pedestrian bridge because it's got the
looks
the
narrow.
rails. It's got like I can vaguely see the rails on it.
Mhm.
No
So in
cars on it.
Yeah, in Austin, like right through the center of the city is well, just south of downtown. Downtown's pretty small, but like there's First Street, and then there's this river that runs through. We call it Ladybird Lake. It's got a few different names, but Ladybird Lake. But it's really just like a river, and it's streaming from the Colorado River. And then there's about 3 different bridges that cut across it, and you can go like stand up paddleboarding. You can go kayaking through it. And then there's, I don't know if you've heard of the famous bats, but those are all bats. They live under the bridge.
The Bat Bridges, is that what it's called? Or per Bob Ozzie Farrell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the name of it?
There's tons of bridges, tons of bats from, I think they're from Mexico that they migrate, and a lot of them live under that bridge for most of the year. And every night at sundown for, like half the year, you can go out there and see the bats fly out.
Yeah. Bats are interesting, not to go too much on a tangent. Like if you look at like a bat skeleton and watch like videos of how they fly and their vision, like they are fascinating creatures. Pretty unique. I'm a fan of bats.
I think they're so cool. And they're cute.
Yeah. That I suppose might be debatable to some.
There's a whole, I mean, as you can imagine, there's so many here that some of them get injured. There's like a whole like restoration, like bat restoration. I forget the name of the nonprofit, but they work with the bats. So
they don't fly into windows.
I don't think so.
No, they're not stupid like birds. Their brains or they're mammals, so they're way smarter. Some mammals will run into mirrors and windows though.
Yeah, and I don't know where they're flying to, but birds are more on the ground. I don't think bats are on the ground as much. They're higher up.
Yeah, upside down. And also the kayak canoe in this picture is very similar to the I Am the Moon imagery in some of those videos and album covers and all of that stuff. Like, I don't know if that's coincidental, intentional, or what, but like something about the sun and the moon and the canoe, it's like definitely overlap with some of that stuff.
I agree.
It's warm. This poster has like a lot of warmth to it.
I think it's my favorite so far.
Yeah, they captured. I feel like they captured Austin pretty well with that poster. It's pretty cool.
I have a feeling Fort Worth might top it, but that's because we're biased.
Yeah, that's hometown for us.
The best poster is the most recent show. We're gonna get it. That's what it's gonna become to the best version of the song. The best TTV show is the most recent one I heard or listened to, or was at, and now the poster is the most recent one from the most recent show that happened. Yeah, I should have been reading off the set list for audio listeners, but set 1 here from Austin, Playing With My Emotions, Ain't That Something, Bell Bottom Blues, Let Me Get By, Everybody's Got to Change, Sometime, I think Yes We Will, Circles Around the Sun, Passaquan, and I Can't Make You Love Me. And then set 2 was Little by Little, Here My Dear, Fall In, Gin House Blues, Part of Me, Made Up My Midnight Harlem, Leaving Trunk, Volunteer in Slavery, Into Volunteer Slavery, Just Won't Burn, I Want More. And then the encore was Let's Go Get Stoned. And we did have some guests in the second set there, but I'll give the floor to the 3 of you guys to tell me about Austin.
Well, had y'all been to I was going to ask you about the venue first. Had y'all been to that? The venue is like 2 years old, brand new venue, all outdoor. Had y'all been yet?
No, man. So we have you can see our daughter running in and out of here. She's 4, and we were really bummed we didn't take her because that's the perfect venue to do it at. They allow kids. There's a grassy area on the lawn.
There were a lot of kids there,
ton of kids running around, having a good time. Our daughter loves TTB, so she would have been,
dancing and grooving all night.
All night. She loved it. So we were pretty bummed. So next time, hopefully they play there again next year because 100% we're taking this little one here if you can see her. But she's for sure going because she can run around on the lawn. It was awesome. We loved it. The security was super cool. There's a security guy with a fish tattoo on his calf. I forgot his name, but he was super cool about the vape pens and all that shit. He was just, he was pretty respectful with everybody in the line and made it fun, even though you're waiting. So I thought that was awesome that the venue has somebody like that with some hospitality, and that's a security guy that's really nice. That's rare to find. But yeah, man, awesome venue. 100% we'll go back. But next time we got lawn seats, like I said, but next time we're going to get up front because we want to be around some people that are spending some money on some tickets that are not talking and they're paying attention to the show. It can't happen every time, but I'd like to spend some extra money, even though it's an out of town show. We typically don't like to do front row or anything like that out of town, but next time we for sure will, just because there's a lot of people talking on the lawn, but
I think I was excited to be in the grass because I was like, oh, I can be like my hippie self and take my shoes off and be in the grass and dance around. And I didn't really get that vibe when we were up there. That's why we moved. And we one thing I do want to mention, which is really cool, is we like to go early before the show starts and scope out the venue and of course see if we can snoop and see any of the band members. But we were walking around in the venue and we saw like they had black mesh up on the top by the street and we could see a little bit of their sound check and warm up and everything. And that was really cool before we got told to leave.
We were nerding out, dude. We got there early, probably 2:00, just kind of scoping it out and listening to sound check and trying to say hi to some guys, but we got kicked out.
Nice.
No, they were super cool about it. They're like, hey, you got to move around. I'm like, all right, we'll be back.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, I do the same. I think most of us, there's a few fans that really, don't try to avoid doing stuff. But yeah, you can't help but just want to be close to the band and close to the music and just be around the whole scene and just to even catch the sound of sound check is super cool, even if you're not, standing, able to see anything. Yeah, that's I get that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only like this with this band, and not really. I don't care about A-list actors or this or that. It's like this is what I geek out and fanboy over for sure. So I understand.
Yeah, I do it too when I travel. I did it in Colorado at the Dillon Theater, and I caught the sound check. Yeah, it's super fun. So. Did the moms come again? I'm calling them the moms, but did the moms come again? Or is it just you two?
Just us, man. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. So my wife came to this show with me, and so the venue's 2 years old. It's normally that's like an outdoor park you can go to, so you can take your daughter and come back, and they just revitalized that whole area to be a park during the day, and then they're doing, I don't know, maybe 50 to 60 shows a year right now, events. But it's like public park right now, which is super cool. And then, so I came to this show. I was pretty excited. So my wife graduated law school and graduation was on Saturday, and my in-laws, so both her parents were in town. So last time her dad was in town, I took him to see some blues music and he loved it. So I was like, all right, I think he's going to dig Tedeschi Trucks Band. He likes Allman Brothers. So I was pretty sure about that. I wasn't sure about her mom, my mother-in-law, but I figured she'd like it. And then my wife saw Tedeschi Trucks Band once, and it was Wheels of Soul in like 2014 or no, it must have been 2015 or 16, right around there. It was like when we were first dating, and she loved Sharon Jones opened. And she raved about Sharon Jones, but Tedeschi Trucks, she was just like, yeah, they were all right. So I wasn't too sure, but she was excited to check it out again. It's been a while, and she's been hearing me listen to some of the new stuff, and she's been digging it. So I was pretty excited about this, and hometown Austin, I was proud Austin. Been here for 20 years now, so I was that's a little backdrop of my story coming into it.
Nice, that's awesome, man. And congrats to your wife.
Yeah, that's a great accomplishment.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you. I agree.
Did everybody who all went out? Did both in-laws and your wife?
Yeah, all four of us went out. Everyone loved it. I'll tell y'all, but I nerd out and try and write down every song when I hear it, and in my notes app on my phone. And my wife went back through it and put an asterisk by all the ones she liked and wanted to remember. So she's definitely a fan now. And my father-in-law loved the show. my mother-in-law on the ride back, y'all reminded me of something she said, which was on the ride back home afterwards. She said she talked about how they all got showcased, and she felt like every single one of them could have their own band because they were so incredible.
Yeah.
So I think we've got 3 new fans. So this was the victory, no matter what happened on the set list.
Yeah.
Just to spin off what you said, his mom made a funny comment. Not funny, but she was talking to my mom during the show in Dallas, and she was like, wow, like she saw the backup singers, you know, with the tambourines. Tambourines. She goes, oh, I would love that job. Just stand there with the tambourines. And then Alicia started singing. She's like, oh, that's why I can't do that. But you have to have a voice like that to be up there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Alicia was initially brought in as a tambourine player, then they found out, they're like, oh, you can sing too? Not exactly. Yeah, we can get more into the music.
Yeah, man, it was well, to be honest, Jeff, I mean, I'll let you kind of take over set 1. We were trying to find our spot, man. Like
I was happy they played Bell Bottom Blues, though. I love that.
Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, so I'll start with set 1. So we got in early. We got there, I think doors were at 6. Show started at like 7. It said 7, but it ended up at 7:15. We were at our seats by 6:30, and we had already gone through the merch line. Got a bunch of shirts, got the poster. Yeah, playing with my emotions. Ain't that something? That was great. And then, oh yeah, my mother-in-law turned to me and she's like, I know that she's at Bell Bottom Blues. She goes, I know that. I've heard that song before. That's a cover. So that was super fun. I won't get into the stand sit situation, but Let Me Get By definitely got me up and moving. It's been a weird vibe in Texas. I love it here. I grew up here in Houston, and I'm definitely biased to Texas. And y'all talked about Ryman, and it's just a different scene going on here. Everybody's got to move sometime, or everybody's got to change sometime. You can tell what I'm thinking about. Yes, we this was great. Everyone around me. I mean, the drums in Passaquan. I'm loving what they're. So this was great because the sun was out still. It was outdoor. I haven't seen them outdoor in a long time. I'm just thinking about that now. I went to Ryman. I was in Chicago. I was at Warner. I was at Beacon. I guess Red Rocks, like right after the pandemic, was probably the last on the tour they were doing before, when it was just the smaller band. So I hadn't seen them outside in a long time. So it was great. It was still light out. The sun hadn't gone down towards the end of the first set. I think y'all had mentioned it. Like Passaquan, you couldn't see all the lights yet. And I just love what they're doing with the drums, and they seem to be having fun and playing off of each other, Falcon and Isaac, so well, and taking these, like when they stop and then take a pause and then jump right back in, and just with their timing, it seems like they're kind of like watching each other, some kind of like improv probably thing where you're like trying to say the same thing at the same time, but don't know what the other person's going to say. It seems like they're just locked in with it, and having fun with it. And then ending the set with I Can't Make You Love Me was just classic Susan song.
Yep. Passaquan. So we went up to the rooftop for the end of Passaquan. Like we're trying to figure out where the hell are we going to sit, dude? How are we going to get a good view of this? And so we made our way up to the rooftop for the end of Passaquan, like the last half of it. And dude, they were going off. And for a moment, both drummers look at each other and they're going all in. And Derek's they're smiling and laughing the whole time. And Derek, because we're on the rooftop, we can see them.
Like down.
We're down on
top. Yeah.
We can see and hear them. They're yelling at each other. And at one moment, Derek stopped playing, and then somebody yells, "Go!" And then that's when Derek went back into it, and they closed out Passaquan. So you could hear him scream it. I don't know if you guys could hear it in the crowd, but we could hear it because we're on top of them, and we're behind the speakers. So it was cool, man. Super, super cool. And Derek started laughing because he was screaming it. So Derek started laughing, and then he closed out Passaquan. It was awesome.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about one little like note I made about Yes We Will was before she played it, she started talking about how she wrote some of the inspiration of why she wrote it was because of how the world is now, and a little bit of a tribute to B.B. King for her love of blues. But it was cool to be like, okay, wow. So the way I see that song and resonate with that song is also how she sees and why she wrote it. You know, so that was cool because I know sometimes you can think like a song means one thing to you, but you don't really know what their inspiration for writing that was, or you're not in their head. But her saying that kind of was like a yes.
About the planet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool.
I love that.
It, again, sounds like a song that's maybe like a Buddy Guy song, or like obviously like a BB King song, like she says, something from the 80s or 90s, or just or another era. It's just so timeless and super bluesy. And I don't know. I was thinking about Passaquan and just like the amazing composition it is, and how I already put it on a level with any of the Dickie Betts compositions with the Allman Brothers, the Liz Reeds and the Mountain Jams. I think it's right there. And is that song like getting the respect or even like the ear of like people in that like sort of space, like who are into that kind of like thing, like as a composition? Because I feel like it really deserves like recognition, like even like beyond like thinking about like, oh, TTB should have won a Grammy or been nominated or whatever the case may be, like. But like I feel like Passaquan is like, especially, and obviously the I'm the Moon albums as a whole are an achievement, a landmark achievement for sure, that deserve all the acclaim in the world, says me. But like Passaquan especially just seems like such like a special. I keep coming back to like the word composition because that's what it is, what Derek has created and the band has created in the same way that what the Allman Brothers did. Like, these are not jams. These are compositions. These are narratives. These are journeys. We're not like jamming just to fill space.
There's stories.
Yeah, there's stories. And
Yes.
the way you guys were describing the drummers, that's like they're communicating, the story within the story of Passaquan with each other. It's like everything is so multi-layered with this band. Like, certainly.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And even like circles into Passaquan too. Like the composition of all that together too.
Yeah, and it reminded me something I was going to say like 15 minutes ago. It's like how, and we've talked about this, I'm sure, how like I like what they're doing with the set list, like almost like grouping certain songs together in like, especially I guess more in 2 songs things, like on the album, like Playing With My Emotions and Ain't That Something, or back to back on the album Circles and Passaquan and Hear My Dear and Fall In. So it's like they're really playing around with like where the new stuff can fit into the set list, and I think part of like moving it around, it's like, hey, Circles, you stay with Passaquan, or Passaquan, you stay with Circles as we move you around, like, I don't know, as they experiment. It's interesting to.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for I Am the Moon, that album. It's really hard for some of those songs to be separated.
Right.
Like,
in a sequence.
Yeah, they've laid that whole album out. Like in the interview when they were talking about how when they got with the producer and they started laying out the track lists on which order they wanted to go with. I mean, it was very well intentioned that way. So I think it's cool that they do keep some of these songs together. They're meant to be,
Yeah, not even and just even like beyond the fact that they released it like in 4 separate installments with songs that you're gonna like definitely associate with one another. It's like the video, the video art films that they released with the movies. Those are just like playing straight through. So it's like really groups the songs together, and like at least from the outset of the release really makes you kind of associate all the songs with one another. Like you could almost hear what's one's next, even though you might not be able to list. I feel like I can't list from scratch all 4 albums, But if you play the end of a song, I'll be like, oh, boom, I can hear what's coming next. Like you kind of can, it's just like an album listening thing. And I guess that's probably lost on a lot of fans in some way. Like just the experience of listening to an album like the way the artist intended. And I think like this is a great like compromise what the band has done. It's like you keep that like sort of integrity and album listening experience by sort of forcing the listener to digest the album in small digestible chunks, which I think is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He even talked about that in interviews. He like when they released it because they nowadays if a new album is coming, a lot of times they'll release a couple songs here and there for you to hear before the whole thing is released, and they wanted to kind of shy away from that and kind of go back to tradition, because how you used to not know anything until you went to the store, bought the CD or record, and then came home and played it. And they kind of wanted to replicate that again with that album. I thought that was really cool and to be respected, you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful. They even, if I remember hearing Derek talk about when he was writing Passaquan, kind of the vibe and the feeling that he got from it. Like he imagined, I forget what car he said, but he imagined, hauling butt down a highway with the windows down, just blaring that tune, like blaring that sound. That's what the vibe you get from it, man. Like you're in the music, your windows are down, you're hauling butt down the highway. And that jam, that rhythm, that vibe and that sound is blaring. He goes, that's what he kind of molded it with is just this like old 2-lane highway, just hitting it, and it really gives that vibe off when you think about it. Like next time you hear it, think about that. Imagine you're in like a 1967 Chevy, just hauling butt down a highway with that song blaring. You're like, oh yeah.
Well, now
I was gonna say, you're gone.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it, and from what I recall, it wasn't something that like he intended to create or write. It wasn't like he was like, I'm gonna write a composition now and put out a Tedeschi Trucks Band instrumental. He was just experimenting with some different ideas, messing around, and I think that sort of just developed into something, and probably with some pressure. And I mean, like not just like some feedback with feedback, positive feedback from the band that band members that this is the idea that he should have continued to pursue. It wasn't like I'm gonna write a Dickie Betts composition or whatever. It was just
they pieced it together.
Organic.
Yeah, very organic. They pieced it together. I think I'm recalling now. It's been months since I heard that interview when they were talking about writing Passaquan, when he was talking about writing Passaquan, but he intentionally didn't want it to. He didn't have intentions to have it on the album, but he had a tune that in his head, I think, and played it to the band, and a couple of them picked up on it and said, hey, this might sound cool with it, and they put some drums to it and picked it up. And originally, I don't think he wanted it to be that upbeat, but then they put the drums to it, and then they made it a little more upbeat. So, and then it flowed together. But yeah, I mean, the way it's written, it was kind of disappointing again in Austin. He Passaquan is a beautiful song, and a lot of people missed out on it. A lot of people missed that first time probably seeing TTB, not really sure who the band is, and Passaquan's on. It's like, man, I wish everybody would shut up for a minute and let's watch this. Like, everybody shut up. Like, you got to see this. So
on a bright note, that's one of the ones my wife starred was Circles Around the Sun and Passaquan, and I think it was. And she doesn't normally she jam all instrumental stuff. So we did get one, at least one that I know of.
Eventually, everything will have asterisks and stars next to it. I think.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
That's just me. Anything else about the Austin set list, set 2 we can dive into a little bit? I know I've taken up quite a bit of your guys' time already. I don't want to keep you all night.
Right at the end of set 1, Susan let us know that there would be some guests coming on, and then set break. I actually saw a bunch of friends, which was awesome, that I didn't know were going to be there, which was great. Just seeing friends I know over the years in Austin. And so it was exciting to see all them there. They were all loving the show. Some of them first time seeing TTB. And then one of them pointed out, because Jimmy Vaughn has this I don't know if y'all know what kind of guitar, but it's all white, and it's that.
Is it Strat?
It's the same kind of guitar that Susan's got, where they're all on the same side, all the tunes.
So it's probably a Strat. I was doing a little bit of research on Jimmy Vaughn, his earlier life, and I think he did have some ties with Stratocaster. I'm pretty positive that was kind of his way. I could be totally wrong, dude. I'm not a guitar guy, but I think I was reading something about that. It could be a Strat.
It's what his brother played, right?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it was all white. So we were like nerding out with each other, like hoping Jimmy would come. And then that first song of that second set, sure enough, Jimmy, Austin. I mean, he still plays a bunch in Austin, and he's, obviously everyone knows Stevie Ray Vaughan. Jimmy's incredible too.
Yeah, I'm showing, this is Bradley Strickland's photos. The band posted a bunch of photos from last night with the guests and some other ones as well. Yeah, cool shot of Susan. Like, yeah, like these are moments where like they know when these are coming or looking out for them, the photographers.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Certainly.
And little by little to start the set, I mean, that was fantastic, and I'm pretty sure that's what they played to open it up. And
yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, little by little, Hear My Dear, Fallen, Gin House.
Do y'all remember if they played Gin House? I don't think they played Gin House on there.
No, I don't recall it. We were pretty down on set too, if you will. We found a pretty good little spot just right at the stage, and set 2 was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I love it. Yeah,
we were talking about Alicia, of course. I'm certain sounded amazing.
And Part of Me, oh yeah, my mother-in-law was loving that. I got asterisks on Hear My Dear, Part of Me, Made Up Mind, Midnight in Harlem.
I love
Go ahead.
too. It's just so like, I grew up like loving rock, so like I wouldn't call that song heavy, but it does start off very strong, so it really gets me going when I hear it.
Which one? I didn't hear which song. Made Up Mind? Oh yeah.
And here's Sue Foley came out, right? And played Leaving Trunk?
Involunteered Slavery, yeah.
Right. Those are the only songs she was on? Or
yeah. And I think Made Up Mind, we like, there was one guy that like right on, it was all seated, but there was a big rail in front of the first row, and he was kind of like standing in the aisle, but at the front. And my wife and I went up at Made Up Mind. She was like, let's go to the front. I'm like, all right. So we went up there, stood next to him, and he turned to us and he was like, so I got to give him a shout out. He goes, it's about time. And then I noticed like 10, 15 people started joining us, which was super fun to kind of have. We were on the left side, so probably like, yeah.
Yeah, we're just on the opposite side of you, man. We just missed you. It was, oh my gosh, awesome. Yes, Sue, dude. Oh my Lord, she right on time, dude. She was perfect.
After yesterday, I had to listen to some of her stuff today, and it definitely does not disappoint. So that was a great guest selection.
Yeah, you guys have a deep rabbit hole to go through as like, so the Susan solo, Derek solo. I'm sure you haven't dug into everything that's out there from this band. Like, I'm excited just for you guys, in that regard. I
love that I went and listened to her. She plays a lot around town. I think she plays at Continental Club is where she plays here a bunch. She's been here for like 30 years. I think she's from Canada originally. But I'm so happy that y'all went and checked her out. That's awesome.
And she definitely does not look her age. Like,
oh my goodness.
Like, what kind of water are you drinking?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, she looks
staying young.
It's the music. Keeps you young.
I think there's something to that, or it can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about the set there? It sounded like it was awesome. Leaving Trunk is always a good place to have, guitar player guest on there. Good song for that.
I love the
Good
transition.
jam.
I love the transition between those two songs. That always stands out to me, is that transition between Leaving Trunk and Volunteered Slavery. I love how Derek does that. And then there are two things I wrote down. Someone was, I forget, was it Zach on Facebook I had it wrong, but originally, but he was correcting me and letting me know. I think Midnight has the Little Martha opening, which we got on this.
Right.
It was a really long, like 5-minute opener on Midnight. Sounds like y'all got it in Dallas too.
Yeah.
But I don't. When we were in Chicago, I got like a 6 or 7 minute version of Midnight. It's like just straight up right into Midnight, like album version almost. So I was pretty happy about getting the full on version of that. And then I Want More had Soul Sacrifice at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. I hear pull that one up. That's that list.
Yeah, just looks like a stellar show from start to finish. You where did you go after, Jeff? Because we got a couple other pictures you sent me here.
I went to See Boys. So there's a place called Continental Club. So that's the Greyhounds. The Greyhounds were playing a show at 10 o'clock, which is probably why they didn't open. Well, I don't know why. There's probably multiple reasons, but Greyhounds had a 10 o'clock show at See Boys, which is owned by the guy that owns Continental Club, and it's on Congress, South Congress, a little bit further south, a little bit smaller version of Continental Club, but Greyhounds were on the bill at 10 o'clock. There's another band on at midnight, and I had a couple friends that tell me they think some folks might stop by there. So I went, and after we got home, I was like, all right, I'm going back out. And I ended up going to See Boys. And sure enough, like 11:30, Ephraim and Kebby and Isaac rolled in. And it's really neat to just kind of see. They just kind of just the professionalism and they just kind of jammed, but they just kind of walked right on stage and come on and off for a few different songs. And it was super cool to see him in a different kind of element than the band and get him, showcased just jamming out.
So they stayed in Austin after the show, huh? I was wondering if they were going to make the drive up to Fort Worth or not.
They definitely stayed.
Cool.
They had to.
I would guess. It seems like they stayed.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then Gabe came a little bit later and played a couple songs.
Kidding me.
Nice.
And then I heard there's video online, but I heard Susan and Derek showed up at Continental Club, and I heard Charlie Crockett. I don't know if y'all know Charlie Crockett.
Whoa.
He showed up at Continental Club. He shows up a lot when he's not on tour at See Boys, Continental Club, and Antone's. But apparently he was on stage, and Susan got on stage, and I think Sue Foley was on too at Continental Club.
Did Angel is that the Angel from Montgomery video?
Yeah,
I think that sounded cool because it was kind of like a departure from the style that we're all so used to her singing. I was like, I'm like, Susan,
she's on acoustic too.
Yeah, it's a more real country vibe. If I listened to a couple of times.
Honky Tonk band that she was sitting in with.
What's that?
It's like a Texas honky tonk kind of band that she was sitting in with.
Right. I'm perhaps most impressed with the fact that it sounded like you said you went home and then you went back out. That's impressive because a lot of time you go home, it's like I'm not making it back out. Once the shoes come off, like we're not making it back. But you're like, it must have been like on the way, or it was convenient. It wasn't an inconvenience to stop back home and then head back out. I guess your route.
In the door. My butt hits either the bed or the couch, and then it ain't moving after that. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I walked to the dog, and then I went out.
Yeah.
It was worth it though.
Yeah, it was. It was a good time.
Good stuff.
Would you say it got cut out?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Continental. What's that venue like? What's that club like? Is it
It's
pretty?
yeah, it's pretty small. Pretty small. It's like a honky tonk kind of. I guess a lot of music. There's some blues that goes through there. It's right on South Congress. It's been there for a long time too. It's an Austin staple. Gary Clark Jr. used to play there a whole bunch when he started. It's maybe took my wife on our first date there. We saw this band called the Peterson Brothers, two blues brothers from Bastrop, which is a suburb of Austin. So that kind of music, there's a lot of blues going on there. It's, I don't know, maybe like 100, 150, like jam packed. And on the top is the Continental Gallery, and they're more jazz. And Ephraim actually goes in there and plays some shows with the Ephraim Owens Experience, or I think it's his trio or quartet.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a few Continental clubs around. I was like looking for them. Like, is that it? Is that it? No, that's it. Oh, Austin. I'm like digging it up. Cool. I appreciate you guys' time and the recaps. Means a lot to me. Very nice to meet you, Tyler and Aubrey. Hope to have all you guys, any of you guys, on again soon. We could talk about maybe doing a Fort Worth recap if that's something you guys would be interested in. So,
We'll probably have some really good feedback.
Yeah, we got some great seats, so we'll be right up there. So
yeah, we can talk about that because the band has some time off. I know after Thursday, was it tomorrow on Wednesday night show, so we can discuss that. But anything else about your experiences that you guys want to share, also or plug or promote, or I'll give you guys the floor. I definitely appreciate the time again.
Everybody needs to go see Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Read the lyrics, listen to their music, go to the show. You got to see it live.
You do got to see it live. I mean, yeah, it's obviously to listen to it, but something about seeing it live, that can win over new fans. Certainly, as does Midnight in Harlem. That is not an unusual conversion. TTB or fan origin story is hearing some version of Midnight in Harlem. I meant to ask what version. What was it a studio version or is it like the Clapton Crossroads 2007 whatever the hell year that was version, and that's on YouTube? What was do you remember what was there a specific version if you remember?
No, I don't remember.
I only know it was live, but
yeah.
It was probably that the one, whichever one on YouTube has like the most the most hits, like the most popular search result, I'm guessing, which is
on the Jam On station.
Yeah, Sirius XM. They played it, and it's
but they played a live version, but I'm not
live
sure.
It just blew us away.
Right, interesting. Yeah, good stuff.
Might have been from what's the live album? Was it the Fox or?
Yeah,
it might have been that one.
That's possible. Yeah, there's a few live releases of Midnight that have been put out by the band in one form or another.
That'd be really cool. Some more live albums would be awesome.
Yeah, you just cut out, but I think I know what you said, that you want more live music and more live albums.
Adam, thank you for doing this, man. One of my favorite things is good to meet you, Tyler and Aubrey. It's one of my favorite things that I keep giving Adam props and saying thanks is just bringing the community more together and getting to meet y'all and more fans is super awesome. And Adam, just for doing this and recapping, even when I'm not there and I get to listen to this, I'm loving it too.
I appreciate all. It's almost like if I can become friends with every single fan, they'll all become listeners. I take it one fan at a time. Anything else? I appreciate it, guys.
We're going for 100% asterisks. No, I'm good.
We always. Cheers, guys. Let's all talk soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, you got it. Later.
Have fun tomorrow.
For sure. Have fun. Peace. Oh, so there you go. Episode, what was it, 116 with Tyler and Aubrey and Jeff recapping TTB in Texas. We even recapped San Antonio, even though we weren't there. Just like I kind of got the feeling like I was between the San Antonio art and the going through the set list and us knowing all the songs. But that was super cool to connect with Tyler and Aubrey and, of course, have Jeff back on. Always a ton of fun doing these recaps. I can't wait to do more of those in the future. Got more episodes. I did speak to Zach Transport another hardcore TTB fan. You guys might know him from some of the groups. I'm gonna get his episode out soon. He's got some really good stories about the band and going to shows since he was a kid and connecting with Derek and Susan and Mark and having really cool personal experiences. But I think that's pretty much all I got for today. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Please check out at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on YouTube. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter if you would like to follow me. AdamChoit.com for all my personal stuff. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com for all things related to this show. Tedeschi Trucks Band.com is their official website. Buy merch, buy tickets to shows, join the Swamp Family Club, download the app. I got all this stuff linked up at my website as well, but of course the band, like I said, is at TedeschiTrucksBand.com. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening and watching. Thank you as always to the band, the crew, the fans, and let's talk soon. Later.